She's dead, wrapped in plastic. Damn good coffee, and hot. Black as midnight on a moonless night.
Do your palms ever itch? One day, my log will have something to say about this.
It is happening again. It is happening again.
Welcome to this episode of the Twin Peaks Log with your host Mark and Becky. Hi Becky.
Hello.
Right, so in this one we're talking about episode 4, season 3. Okay, interesting stuff going on in this one, right? It begins with the same credits we saw in episode 3. Laura's Rancho Rosa kind of pre-credit. Then it's the clouds and Laura's face and the falls and Twin Peaks music. Very nice, very nice. So that seems to be the standard intro now, right? It starts with 3 guys standing there looking kind of shocked that Cooper keeps winning jackpots. Or 2 of them are in suits. One's a security guard and they're kind of standing there. And one's like freaking right out. It's like, yeah. And, he's pulling his jackpots. Hello! And there's in the previous one, I did mention there was a woman kind of helping him out when he's saying to her, call for help, and he's saying, oh, I'm here to help you, sir. You've won this $28,000 with 3 jackpots, and I'm here to help. It's more than all these dimes and all this. Anyway, she's there. Another security guard turns up, and he says, how many? And she goes, 29 jackpots. And then the old lady comes and says, Mr. Jackpot, which one will I use? And he kind of points at one, and she goes over to figure out which one he's trying to point out, puts the money in. And she's a real old lady, this one. Like a bag lady almost, isn't she?
Yeah.
And she wins her jackpot, and the woman goes, 30 jackpots, and she's going, thank you, Mr. Jackpot, thank you. So he's wandering around, and then he gets interrupted by this guy and his lady friend or wife or whatever it is, and it's a guy called Bill Shaker. He says, hey, Dougie Jones. So we find out his name's Dougie Jones, nice. He says, it's Bill Shaker, it's me, Bill Shaker. And his missus is there. I recognise both of these people, and it kind of the man made me laugh because I recognised him from all things of Mallrats. Have you seen Mallrats?
I haven't.
Okay.
Well, I knew I'd seen his face though, but I couldn't place it.
He's been in lots of things, but in Mallrats he's like a teenager, right? That's how long it was. But it's a funny scene where he's like looking at one of those magic images. Those things you look at, and if you look at it long enough, you can see a boat or a seagull or something. Those kind of. This was when Mallrats was made when they first came out, and they had this scene of him just staring for hours, and he could never make out what it is. And a kid would go up and say, "Oh, look at a pretty boat," and he'd go to the kid, "Piss off." And it just made me laugh that feels a bit Lynchian. And his missus, I recognise, she's the daughter in the remake of The Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
So
from the Innkeepers as well.
Oh, yeah.
Sarah Paxton?
I think so, Paxton. Yeah, so that was kind of fun. So he's saying, you're Dougie Jones. You look great, he says. Have you lost weight? Because I think the real Dougie Jones was heavier set. I think that's the idea. We only saw him in a big jacket, so we couldn't tell. But he's heavier set. That's the implication. If you lost weight, if you had a haircut, and Dougie's just looking at his hot dog or his burger or whatever he's eating, he goes, "Oh, sorry about this, Dougie. I haven't eaten since I left home this morning." And Dougie's going, home? He goes, "Yeah, you want to go home, Dougie? You know where your home is." And his wife's going, "Yeah." Or his missus is going, "Yeah, you know where your home is." He goes, you know where you live, Lancelot Court, by Merlin's Market. It's the house with the red door. So he's like, it made me laugh. Lancelot Court, Merlin's Market. So it's all these King Arthur references. You know, we've got Glastonbury Grove, and now it's Lancelot. So this version of Cooper has got this King Arthur thing around. Right. So Doug is and he says, is it far? And I think the missus is going, is it far? And he says, it's a $6 or $8 cab ride. And he kind of wanders off, and he's saying, is he okay? Is he okay? And the guy, and Cooper goes to try and he's just wandering off, isn't he? And one of the younger guys in the suit kind of grabs him and says, Sir, will you follow me, please? And they go out to an office, and there's a guy, the guy that saw him winning all the jackpots, he was like going, I'm dead. He was going, I'm dead, because he was winning all this money. He's sitting in the office, he goes, oh, welcome. He goes, here's your winnings. We want to help. Can we help you in any way? Can we get you a room, a meal, female companionship? And he goes, $6 cab ride. And he goes, oh, there's no cab rides to you. He goes, here's your money. He gives him a massive bag of money, right? And then he says, but you got to promise me something. He stands up. Cooper stands up and he leans forward and looks really ominous, doesn't he? He goes, that you'll come back soon and try your luck with us, sir. And then Cooper looks up and there's a camera in the scene, and he goes, yeah, we're watching you, Mr. Jones. It's like really weird. It was a really tonally weird scene, this, wasn't it? Because it's kind of, they were playing it for laughs, I presume. What was your thought?
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, so they get him a limo driver, and he's saying, and we see the limo driver again. So, yeah, here's Lancelot, cool. But did you say a red door? He goes, it's kind of hard to tell because it's dark. I can't quite see the doors. And he's sitting there in the back of the limo with a massive bag of cash, like Santa's sack, right? The driver's kind of finds the red door finally and kind of opens the door for him. And Cooper gets out with his bag of money and just stands there, and the driver says, yeah, okay, I'll wait with you. And they're just looking at the house. And then we hear our owl, don't we, hooting, and we see it fly past.
Yep.
Well, the owls are not what they seem. And the driver says, wow, those things really spook me. I was like, wow. Then his wife comes out. I don't know, who is it? Tell us who it is.
It's Naomi Watts.
Naomi Watts, who's usually, quite... Well, it's an interesting character, this, because there was a lot of speculation on the internet she was going to be like an FBI agent and this, that, and the other. She turns out she's Mrs. Jones, right? She's Mrs. Jones. And she comes up and she gives him a big old slap. Slaps him and says, where have you been? 3 days. You've missed your work. You missed Sonny Jim's birthday. Where did you get that suit? Where'd you get that haircut? What's all this? It's just like, and he's just standing. The driver says, he was a guest at the Silver Mustang. You've been at the casino? She goes, you better come in. And the driver's off then, and I can't blame him, right? And she's like, she sits him down and says, oh, Dougie, I've been so worried. What's this bag? And she starts looking in it, and she looks at him like, where'd you get this money? Like, I think Dougie's a bit of a wrong one, don't you?
Yeah, and that's the thing when you say with Naomi Watts that, there was speculation that she'd play an FBI agent or whatever. It seems that I think there'll be more to her character.
I hope so. I kind of like this kind of family that he's kind of fell in with, the Jones family.
Even though he is, soliciting sex.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was going to say ball bearing as well. Yeah, well, Yeah. And it's like, she's saying, what's this? She starts looking at the money. She looks really worried. And he goes, Mr. Jackpot. And she's going, you won it? You won it? And then she goes, this is enough to pay him back. So that suggests he's into something where he owes people money, right?
Yeah.
So that, again, suggests that those hitmen might have been after Dougie, Dougie might have been their target. If he owes bad guys money, that's pretty bad, right? So she says some odd things. She says, it's the most horrible, wonderful day of my life. And it's almost like 50s soap opera, would you say?
Yeah, this is the episode, I think, where you kind of get in the melodrama we're used to within this kind of family dynamic.
Yeah, the house is pristine and it doesn't look like a house you'd live in, right? It looks like a set from a TV show kind of house, doesn't it? In fact, even neater than that, from a 50s TV show, almost. Then it cuts and we see Gordon Cole being led into a big plush office by none other than Richard Chamberlain. Richard
Of the
Chamberlain.
Thornbirds.
Well, I think of him as from Shogun, but he's been in loads of stuff. But yeah, Thornbirds was a big one of his, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, my nan's obsessed with it.
Yeah. He's called Bill as well. And Cole and Bill have a little banter. Cole's saying, "How's Martha? Did you fix that thing with Paul?" And then we find out Paul's in the North Pole. We don't know who Martha or Paul is, do we? Some sort. I think that's a private joke there. Or some sort of David Lynch joke, I don't know. It's a super plush office, this, isn't it? There's a big, standards over this. Cole goes and sits down. He notices there's a bouquet of flowers in the chair next to him. And then we get Denise. How happy were you to see Denise?
I was so happy. And to have a scene between Denise and Cole was amazing.
Yeah, it's... and she's a woman now, right? It's not just transvestite, it's a woman. She's had to change. She's had to chop, as it were. So Cole's saying, "It's Cooper. We found him. He's in a federal prison in South Dakota." And Denise goes, "Oh yeah, you taking Agent Preston with you?" And Cole's like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "Really, Gordon? What are you getting at, Denise?" He says, "I know your profile. An agent, barely 30, beautiful." And Cole's like, "You know me, I'm old school." This. And he's like, "Cole, really?" You know, I think this is David Lynch pulling the chain of the people to say, "Yeah, he casts all these beautiful actresses. You know, he has a scene where he has to kiss one of them. Yeah, right, and all this." I think that was a bit of a dig back at that. Do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then he starts saying, "You know, there's an interesting bit of continuity in there, which I quite liked." He said, "While I put you to work undercover in the DEA, so Dennis wasn't in the DEA; he was in the FBI working undercover in the DEA." That's what we find out from that. That's kind of cool. I like that. That kind of works for me. And he says, "I had enough dirt." He said, "You were a wild thing," or something. He says, "I had enough dirt on you to fill the Grand Canyon and never use a spoonful because you're a good agent and Tammy is too. She has the stuff." And Denise is like, "Yeah, I know." And then he says, what does it? He says something like, "There's room in this bureau for more than one beautiful woman." Denise, "Oh, Gordon," you know, it's really funny. And then he says, "Yeah, you know," he's picking Cole up about the fact he's dragging Tammy Preston around with him. And he says, "Yeah, but I'm talking more now as a woman than head of the staff of the entire Federal Bureau of Investigation." And she kind of relishes saying the full name of it, Federal Bureau of Investigation. That made me laugh a lot. And then she says, "Yeah, sometimes in this job I need balls of steel." And he goes, "And don't even talk to me about the raging hormones." And Cole's like, I had a feeling that this scene was somehow talking about Scully, you know, this beautiful agent, going around with this beautiful agent. Don't know, am I reading too much into the, you know, I mean, David Duchovny, are they talking about Scully a bit?
I think so, yeah. Knowing Lynch, yeah, I think you'd have to kind of playful little kind of reference,
It could be, right. So Cole says that he thinks he's onto something big, and Denise is like, "Is Albert with you?" I mean, Albert seems to be Cole's right-hand man right now.
Yeah.
For sure. And Cole's like, "Do birds fly?" And it's interesting. This scene made me laugh. There was something about this that made me laugh. When Cole left, Denise is sitting there and she just starts fanning her face like she's got overheated by the whole exchange. Like, do you think she's got a thing for Cole?
Maybe, yes.
It's fun. I have to say also, I've already talked about how Carl McLaughlin is like hitting out of the park in I think in the last episode. David is doing a great job here. Great job. Really good. Because, I mean, Cole was kind of a comedy character, wasn't he? An incidental character. And we was always pleased to see him in season 1 and 2. But, sorry, he was just in season 2, wasn't he? I'm trying to remember now.
Yes.
He was only here and there and like a very passing character. So there wasn't much acting range needed. But I think he's doing really well here. I'm really digging David Lynch's Cole, I have to say.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to a bit more. We're going back to Twin Peaks Sheriff Department. More Lucy and Andy stuff. Lucy's talking to the sheriff on the phone about the thermostat, and she's going, "This does it work when there's no one here to watch it?" And all this is like, and it goes on for a bit. And in the end, she goes, "Are you near a stream, Sheriff? I can't hear you." And the sheriff, this is the first time we see him, right? This is Frank Truman.
Yeah, and my poor nan was really happy because she thought it was Harry. I was like, no, it's not Harry.
Yeah, Michael Unkean apparently wouldn't come back. He might turn up, you don't know, but he wouldn't come back. They do talk about him being ill, though, don't they?
Yes.
And when she walks in, Lucy freaks out and actually kicks back on her chair and falls on the floor. And Andy kind of helps her up. And Andy says, "I hate mobile phones." And there's this... Lucy just cannot understand how mobile phones work. Which is, this is Lucy and Andy stuff. This doesn't quite work for me because I always kind of liked Lucy. She was like a bit more on the ball than Andy, but now they both seem to be Andy levels of understanding.
Yeah.
So I have a little trouble with it, but I can't because I like the characters,
That's what it feels like. They're very kind of partitioned off from the rest of the world. Do you know what I mean? All this time, and even Hawk. I know he's still kind of Hawk, but he seems very slow for him.
Yeah,
like Hawk,
they're talking really slowly, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I know everybody's kind of got older and everything, but all three of them don't quite seem to have kind of caught up with the rest of the world. It's like they stayed in this kind of stasis.
Yeah, funny enough, the sheriff's not like that, is he? He seems like...
He's travelled in.
That's
hasn't
true.
He?
That's true. We do see Truman then go down to a control room and talk to some other deputies who, again, are acting perfectly normally as they do. There's guys doing stuff with jackets or something, sticking tape on jackets or something like that. Starts talking about to the control room about stuff. They've found that a high school kid, the kid at high school is OD'd. A kid called Danny Craig. Has OD'd at the high school. He was just sitting at his desk after school and they didn't realise that he'd OD'd. And then Truman goes and finds another deputy, Bobby Briggs. Man, Dana Ashbrook, fantastic. Really glad to see him.
He looks so good as well.
Yeah, he looks very much the same, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He really... And... well, we'll talk about his acting in a bit, but they basically have a little interaction, and the sheriff tells him about Danny Craig, asks Bobby has seen anything on the outside cameras, and he's going, raccoons, deer, rabbits, stuff like that. And he says, okay, I need to go into the conference room, come in. And Bobby says, no, I have to take a leak so bad, my back teeth are floating. What a great turn. I'm going to use that turn of phrase somewhere. Truman goes in and all of stuff's laid out, but it's Laura Palmer stuff as well now, which I didn't notice before. It was all like Cooper's. Now, this actually got me thinking. It hadn't occurred to me before, that they've got all this stuff about Cooper, right, which suggests there's some sort of investigation evidence being kept about Cooper.
Yeah.
I get why they've kept Laura Palmer stuff, but Cooper's stuff? Or was it, I don't know. Did something happen to Cooper? We don't know, really. I mean, we don't, do we?
We don't. I mean, he's disappeared, and the relationship between Harry and Cooper suggests that the way that we kind of led to believe that Cooper took off, that Harry may have been suspicious, and even Cole.
Yeah,
because Harry
so they kept
saw
all the stuff, right?
Yeah, because Harry saw things at the end. He's like we talked about in the series. He trusted Cooper with all of his kind of intuitions and everything. But at the end, Harry did see something when he was waiting for him to come out of the lodge. He did see the kind of supernatural aspects of it. So maybe he was suspicious. Yeah. So that might be an interesting.
Yeah. Then Frank Truman starts talking to Hawk, and he says, so you say Margaret gave you a message about something missing and it's something to do with your heritage? So Hawk's saying, yeah. And all the Laura Palmer stuff laid out. This deputy comes in called Chad, and honestly, when they first started talking to him, I thought they said Chet, which is one of the characters for Invitation to Love. So I was like, oh, there's a Chad. But it was Chad. I was like, oh, it's not what I thought. I'm putting way too much weight on Invitation to Love in this series, aren't I? Lucy and Andy are there, and then there's a bit of interaction. Chad's a bit surly, right? Saying, I thought that log woman was a 1096, whatever that means, not allowed in the building. And Lucy said, it's on account of gum, so I'm guessing Margaret turned up and gobbed her gum everywhere, which she did in the double R, right? And got told off. And it's on account of gum, and this guy's saying, I'll chew on that. And he's like making these little psychic comments, isn't he? Like, Andy says, she gets messages from a log, and Chad goes, oh, Pinocchio's friend. And the sheriff's like, good night, Chad. He's had enough of him, and he says, yeah, I'm going to go off and talk to my pine cone. That's ridiculous. And then we get my second favourite scenes of this series, actually. Bobby comes in, sees Laura's picture, the music comes up, the Twin Peaks music. Laura's theme, in fact, isn't it? And because he's seen Laura's picture, and he just starts crying. So good, so good. Dana Ashbrook really knocks this out of the park for me. What about you?
Definitely, and I was right back there. The nostalgia, everything. This was kind of channeling the very essence of the television show for me, this bit.
This went straight back to 90s Twin Peaks, didn't it? It really did.
Yeah.
Really good turn. I mean, it was like Dana Ashbrook's not been away, as far as I'm concerned. It was just perfect and really good. And it's interesting that I haven't really used any of the Twin Peaks music outside the titles right up until this point.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
It really sort of channeled it in a really good way. So Bobby kind of starts crying, but he kind of pulls himself together. Truman says Hawks had a message concerning Agent Cooper, and he's going, Dale Cooper? Bobby says, Dale Cooper? He says, yeah. He goes, Cooper was the last person to see my father alive. A few days after my dad died, Mum told me Cooper had come by the house to talk to my dad, and my dad died in a fire at his station the next day. And the sheriff's like, do you know what they talked about? And Bobby's like, no idea. So we're given a bit more information. Presumably this is the Dark Cooper, right? Because it won't be Dougie. So It must be the Dark Cooper impersonating our Cooper to go and talk to Major Briggs. And then Major Briggs died the next day in a fire. That's kind of... I think we could gather from that Dark Cooper killed him, probably. And tried to cover it up.
Yes, and there's so much I want to say that I can't.
Why?
In relation to the Secret History.
Okay, right. Okay, yeah, we need to do the Secret History today, so we can talk about something. And then another deputy comes in who's an interesting kind of character. He comes in and he says, there's a guy called Wally Brando outside who wants to pay his respects to you. And like Lucy and Andy kind of look at each other and and rush out. And like the sheriff says, that's their son. Wally Brando's their son. And like, then he realises he's got to go and talk to this guy. And the sheriff's like, oh boy. So you get the idea something. The sheriff is not looking forward to this. He goes out, and it's Michael Cera dressed as Marlon Brando from The Wild One, and Lucy and Andrew each side of him, really happy to see him, right? And basically, we get Michael Cera doing like a Marlon Brando impression, talking about he wants to pay his respects to Harry, who's his godfather, as you know, which is interesting because it's Marlon Brando's the Godfather, right? And he said, I want to pay my respects. And all of that speech comes from, like, the Godfather. And he says, my heart's always with you. And all this. And what really made me laugh in this scene was watching... And if you watch this again, I don't know if you paid attention to this, but watch Andy and Lucy in this whole scene. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. You saw it, right?
Yes. And what did you think of... Michael Cera's performance? Michael
Cera was straight out of season 2. That character could have been hanging around with like Jack Wheeler and sorry, I'm just and Dick Tremaine, and Little Nicky. All we need now is Little Nicky turning or something. It just, oh man, people hate this guy, right?
That's the thing. I've heard so much kind of negativity, but I think he struck that tone perfectly well.
That goofy season 2 tone that it's interesting. What it made me think is, you know what? Season 2 wasn't as, the bad bits of season 2 weren't anywhere as bad as I thought they were. It just reminded me that I actually enjoyed quite a lot of season 2 that some people don't. And this character, I don't think I could have stood much more of him, to be honest. But I might not. It's interesting again, he mentioned something out of the Secret History, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
And how he's crisscrossing the land. The bit that made me laugh the most was when he goes, "My shadow is always with me, sometimes ahead, sometimes behind, sometimes to the left, sometimes to the right, except on cloudy days and at night." And Lucy and Eddie look at him like his best friend since sliced bread, and Trim's like, "I'm going to punch this bloke in a minute."
It's a really great scene.
Dear. I did laugh. So Wally Brando, you know what I said before, I wanted like a little Dick Tremaine as Wally. That would have been funny too. What's his name? Walter, isn't it? Walter.
What is it? What's the bird called? Waldo?
No, I thought it was Walter. He's not named after the bird, surely.
No, because the bird's Waldo, isn't it? And he's Wally, isn't he?
Yeah, but I think it's Walter. I think they call him Walter because in the episode 1 they say we haven't seen Cooper since Walter was born, or maybe it was Wally. I can't remember now. You don't think he's named after Waldo, do you think?
No, that's what I thought of, and I was thinking, is he going to die like the bird? Is what I was thinking.
Yeah, I did enjoy this. It was really goofy, but in a funny kind of, this is so stupid kind of way. This guy thinks he's the bee's knee. And the thing is, I've met people like this who think everything they say is deep and profound. And if you say anything a bit deep and profound, they act like you are a genius as well. Only to try it, but all it is them trying to indicate how deep and profound they are by recognising how deep and profound you are. Do you know the type? And it's just, and he was one of those, wasn't he? And I did like the fact he had Wally on his jacket. I don't know. Americans probably don't get this, but Wally is a rude word, a mild rude word in it means like a dick, doesn't it? If you Wally. So that made me laugh. Anyway, right. Okay. So, anything else to say about that? Should we move on?
No, I mean, I hope we see him again, but I don't think we will.
Yeah, we might. I wouldn't mind if he doesn't ever appear, but if it's like not too dragged out, it's one of these season 2 things. When it's not dragged out, it's fine. Yeah, but it's like, quite good even. But it's small doses, the best, small doses. But it's just such a weird touch, isn't it? It's such a weird. I was detecting Mark Frost in that, personally.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing in the writing. I mean, we kind of talk about Lynch quite a bit, but we don't kind of reference.
To be honest, I was detecting Engels and Peyton rather than Frost and Lynch. But this is written by Frost and Lynch, so it must be this would be Lynch, surely. Might be, I suppose. Who knows? All right, okay. We'll move on to the next thing. We see Cooper sitting on a bed looking at a green jacket, a big, which is a horrible shade of green, a bit like his mustard jacket. And then he kind of starts staring at this chair in the room, right, against the wall. And then we also then see the one-armed man, like, looking, he's in an empty red room, but kind of looking in the air like he's trying to look for something. And then he sees Cooper. Cooper. Cooper can see him in the furniture, kind of, right? Isn't he? And the Mike says, "You see me, don't you?" And he says, "You were tricked." And he holds up the gold ball bearing and says, "Now one of you must die." And Cooper stands up and acts agitated. And his wife comes in and says, "Dougie, what are you doing?" And he basically he's busting for a piss, right? And it's like. So she goes, "Oh, you got to do your business," or something like that. He goes, "Come here," and she takes him into the toilet, points him at the toilet, and leaves him. And he starts to have a piss, but he acts like he's never pissed before, doesn't he? It's
Well-
well, he's been in the room for 25 years. He's forgotten.
25 years.
He's forgotten
He's-
stuff like that, right?
Isn't that to use his wallet?
But he gets that, and I was thinking, maybe this is a bit too graphic, but I was kind of thinking of this and goes, yeah, when you actually start having a piss, it does feel a bit weird, but then you're kind of relaxed, doesn't it? So if you haven't done it in if it's like you've effectively have never done it before, it would be kind of terrifying or, weird. But then you get the sense of relief you get. So then you're like, that's really good. Because that's how it is, isn't it? It's like, and he finishes his first.
Step by step.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going into this way too. There's a really interesting scene straight after that. He goes and looks in the mirror and he's like, sees his own reflection. He's kind of entranced by it. Now, that could be he's not seeing Bob. No, that wouldn't be that, right? It's more like he's aged or he's seen his own face again and he's not used to it. I don't know. There's no sadness or reaction, is there, from Guy McLaughlin here? It's kind of really interesting scene. Kind of like that. Any thoughts?
Just again, it's a great kind of turn from Kyle MacLachlan, and like we've said, with these different characters, there's never a point where they kind of bleed into each other.
Yeah.
He plays it so well.
This isn't the Cooper we're used to, is it? It's more like the Rain Man or Forrest Gump kind of Cooper, right? It's that kind of thing. He's kind of not there yet. He's not back. I actually think this entire series is about Cooper coming back now. That's what I think this series is about. It might be that's one thread of several, but I think deep down it's about the good Cooper getting back. Any thoughts on that?
Definitely, and it's kind of similar to somebody who has been kind of, what's the word, kind of held captive or kind of been manipulated psychologically for a long period of time.
Yeah.
I think he channels that quite well. We're getting the kind of comedy, and he's almost like, particularly in the last episode, like a robot in the way, or a computer in the way he repeats everything. He's kind of like a toddler as well.
Yeah.
And like the whole mirror thing, the kind
That's
of
exactly right. Yeah.
Well, the kind of Lacanian aspect of identity and the kind of the mirror image and all of that. It's as if he's kind of, like you say, rediscovering his identity. And that kind of duplicitous nature of these doppelgangers and how you can be separated, and souls. We talked about the demonic possession and all that. So I think it's going to be really interesting how that kind of plays out, and I'm really excited to see how Lynch and
mirroring's
Frost
a
do
big
that.
thing with this Cooper, right? And copying and mirroring is a big thing with this Cooper. And actually we find out the same about the Dark Cooper towards the end of this episode, right? There's repetition and just doing the same thing as someone else. Business going on. Carl McLaughlin in this also made me think bizarrely of Leonard Nimoy at the end of Search for Spock, where he's not quite Spock again. He's been reconciled, his soul and body have been reconciled back to each other, but they're not quite working together yet. So he's like, he can't really interact very well, and it made me think of that too. That's a bit of a stretch maybe, but made me think of that. Anyway, he's kind of in the room. She sees that his wife comes back. She sees he's not dressed. She starts helping him get dressed. She says, "Oh, you've lost weight. This jacket looks 2 sizes too big." She says, "Well, that suit you came back in fitted. I'll have to get it dry cleaned and get you back in there." I'm thinking, yes, please get him back in the suit. And she says, "I'll leave you to do the tie." And then she says, "Come on, Sonny Jim." It's funny that his son's called Sonny Jim. Dougie and Sonny Jim. It is really 50s, isn't it?
It really is. And how cute is that kid?
Yeah, the kid comes in, gives him the thumbs up. Cooper smiles at him.
Well,
sorry, go on.
with a thumbs up, I was going to say, I was thinking, is this child kind of a spirit of one of the Black Lodge or whatever? It's like a guardian looking after him if he's been manufactured.
We don't
Because
know, really. I mean,
The
it never
kid doesn't
occurred
say
to me,
anything, does he?
actually.
He doesn't speak at all.
I thought he'd just doing a thumbs up, and it's like Cooper does the thumbs up, and I think it's almost like he's remembering it's his gesture.
That's the thing, that the kid does it just in the same way that the old man did it. I thought that was out of all the gestures he could have done.
I mean, the thumbs up comes up a lot, right? It's the old man. It's Cooper himself does the thumbs up.
But it's generally the characters that are spirits, or I would interpret hosts of spirits. Not Cole, though. No. Cole does it, doesn't he? That's their thing.
He just does it. But Cooper does it, and then he just starts turning around, and Sonny Jim laughs. And then we see Cooper come into the kitchen, like this 50s prefab kitchen, but he hasn't got the tie around his neck. He's got it over his head like a hat or something. He's just lying over his head. No one says anything. And then they bring in what's his name? Brubeck. Take five. I was trying to remember what this was, but I remembered Take Five, which was like instantly I heard that I thought, oh man, that's the song that I've been trying to think of as the entire influence for Badalamenti's Twin Peaks whole entire score. It's a combination of some stuff by Henry Mancini. You know, the stuff we play at the beginning of this podcast, it's not actually Twin Peaks music. It's called from a film called Experiment in Terror, but it's so Twin Peaksy, and it's Henry Mancini, and that film actually has a Twin Peaks in it. So it's his influence on this. It's that. It's a bit of Miles Davis. There's a track by Miles Davis called So What? And there's this track, Take Five, by David Brubeck band, I think it is. And they all feel like the spiritual fathers of the entire Twin Peaks score. And it's really interesting that he's gone straight to Take Five in this scene, rather than using Badalamenti's music, right?
Yeah.
Interesting, right? What do you think? Did you recognise the song?
Slightly, but I couldn't kind of place it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I knew the song. I just couldn't think. It took me a while to think of it. I finally got it though. It works. It works well in this scene. But you could have had the old Twin Peaks, something like that. The boy helps him sit down, and the boy's eating pancakes. He gets some pancakes. He watches the kid pour syrup on, and then she says, "Here's your coffee. What about that mug, eh?"
Amazing.
You want that, don't you?
I do want that, yeah.
I am Dougie's coffee. And he's so happy, isn't he? Coffee! He takes a big old swig and then spits it all over the floor, smiles and goes, "Hi!" Wow. He's smiling, so it wasn't. I was thinking, is it burnt him? Doesn't he like the taste of coffee? Because coffee rings a bell. And it was almost like, Definitely. Is this going to bring Cooper back? That kind of moment. Because he says
the coffee's that good.
Yeah, he says hi. That's the first time he hasn't mirrored anyone.
Yeah.
So
as if he's like waking up a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Now this scene made me think of in The Bride of Frankenstein. There's a scene where the Frankenstein monster is with a blind man who's been kind to him and is responding in kind. It really reminded me of that. I don't think it was reffing on that at all. It's just it was similar, is what I'm trying to say. Do you think? Kind
of, yeah, with the kid, and that's what I mean. The kid looks kind of, as well as that kind of childlike kind of humour, and he's finding it so funny. He does seem to me kind of wiser than his years, and he doesn't speak. And I really did get the gist that he was potentially a kind of spirit looking after Cooper as this kind of manufactured one, or looking after. Sentinels look after the real Cooper if they came back and swap places because of this whole fate thing we talked about, where it seems that things are meant to happen. And I just thought it was great with Naomi Watts, her character, how she just doesn't even notice that he's got the tie on his head because she's so kind of busy going about her business.
She's. Do you think this is Cooper coming back, or do you think? Well, let's put it this way: if Cooper takes the entire season to come back, will you be a bit annoyed because you want Cooper back sooner? What's your feeling? Do you want Cooper back sooner rather than later?
I do, because I would like a showdown between Cooper and Cage Cooper.
Yeah. There is that. But you know what? I'd be kind of comfortable if it takes the whole season for him to come back to that point. But I'd be equally happy if he does come back sooner and start acting like Cooper. But we'll see. Anyway, that cuts away. We go right back to the first episode, I think, where the woman forensic scientist who was like part of the crew that found the head of the woman on the body of the man, is back at the station. She says, we got an ID on the print, but it's not giving us information. It says it's blocked. It says, who's denying us access? It says it's the military. Right, so there's a military connection between this male body and this like headless corpse. So what's your thoughts? Briggs. There's only two possibilities I can think of, and Briggs is by far the most likely of those. The other one is a long shot, and I was thinking Dougie Milford was the other one. I don't know why Dougie Milford's body would be here, but Dougie Milford, certainly again, we're going back to the Secret History, which we have to cover soon. Dougie Milford's a main character in the Secret History that hands his work over to Major Briggs. And yes. I know in season 2 he's like an old bloke who marries a sex witch, but in the Secret History he's a major player in the entire stuff around the history of Twin Peaks. So that's the other possibility. However, he did die in season 2 and presumably got buried, so that would be a long shot. The body the woman's head was with was quite a big one, wasn't it? The male body.
Yeah.
Now that could be bloated from whatever decay, but it could have been Briggs, but Dougie Milford, the actor playing Dougie Milford, was also a fairly big man, even though he was old. So it's possible. But the sensible one is probably Major Briggs, right?
Yeah, and this is 25 years after Twin Peaks, so I think it's more likely
That's
to
a
be.
good point. I'd thought that. I hadn't even occurred to me.
unless time travel bits and bobs, as you've discussed.
Anyway, it's blocked by the military, right? I'm just putting my oar in, and then if it's Dougie Milford, you can say, man, that Mark's a genius, right? And then we get to Carl Albert and Tamara Preston coming out of, I think, an airport and getting into a car and driving.
Go on, mention it.
Well, that walk, the walk. We don't see the walk at this point, do we? Is it when she gets out? It's in this.
Oh, well, even walking to the car.
Walking to the car. Man.
Those hips are working.
Now, I said Bobby Briggs was my second favourite scene in this episode.
Yeah.
So her walk is my favourite scene. I'm sorry, I'm a pig, all right? That's a hell of a walk.
Sex hips.
Yeah, man. Oh, man, that walk. Right. Anyway, all right, that's all I'm going to say about it anymore, all right? Yeah, that's not true. Anyway, she sits in the front because she gets car sick, right? Now, there was a comment, I've forgotten what they were talking about having to go to South Dakota, where Cole had said, I want to see Mount Rushmore, or Albert had joked about seeing Mount Rushmore, and Cole had acted like, oh yeah, now Mount Rushmore isn't there, I don't think. I can't remember where Mount Rushmore is, but I don't think it's there. But Albert pulls out a picture of Mount Rushmore and shows Cole, right? And he's really happy, he goes, faces of stone. He's and he says, I think Cole gestures like, why is Tammy sitting in front? And Albert says, Agent Preston gets car sick. And he goes, Albert, we're in South Dakota. Cossacks live in Russia. And Albert's like, car sick. And the driver slams on the brakes. Do I need to pull over? And it's like, Albert's like, Now, I get a feeling Cole's kind of winding Albert out here with this goofy mishearing sometimes. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think so.
Deliberately annoying.
Especially when he says, somebody got up on the wrong side of the bed this morning.
Yeah. Then they get to the prison. Oh, no, it's definitely this bit where we see the walk. The sachet. That's a hell of a sachet, that is. Because we see it from the front walking towards the camera. I was like, whoa, she's got some motion in the ocean. Well, look, I'm doing it again. I'm talking about, shut up. Anyway, like a cop there, I think like a plainclothes says, yeah, we found him in a car. And he was sick, and we're trying to analyse the substance he was throwing up. We think he might have been poisoned. It's still in an analysis, but he sent Highway, went to hospital, and then they get there. He goes, "This is what we found in the car, but the vomit's still in the lab." And he goes, and they said, "This is what we found. We found a bag of cocaine. And it's a massive bag of cocaine, isn't it? It's really big.
Yeah.
A machine gun and a dog leg." And Albert's
what was the dog leg about?
The dog leg. There's a dog leg in there. And Albert's like, what, no cheese and crackers? And Cole's saying, I'd like to apologise about Albert in advance. I did also notice in this scene, which I hadn't noticed before, that Preston was wearing this weird gold pendant that was kind of really big And I don't know if that means anything about anything, but it just struck me as an odd piece of jewellery. Anyway, if you watch it again, watch out for that. I don't know if it means anything.
Okay.
Then they finally talk to Cage Cooper. Whoa. How about this, right?
Yes. I was intrigued after your discovery because I did not notice that the first time.
Yeah, I thought that sounds like he fluffed the line there, and I listened back, and it's like, yeah. Basically, the shutter goes up, and basically, because he's got cocaine, they're keeping him in jail. That's fair enough, right? Until they charge him. They got someone's 48 hours to question him and all this. Cage Cooper sees him, gives the thumbs up. He's talking in a very weird way, isn't he? He's talking a couple of octaves lower.
Yeah, creepy.
Very slow, weird way. And almost, not everything, but a lot of what he says is a mirror of what Cole says to him, and vice versa. There's a lot of copy in between. But the first thing he actually says to Cole is the one I'll point out to you. He says, "It's very good to see you again, my old friend." And I'll say that again. It's very good to see you, old friend. So very backwards, right?
Yeah. And
I'm not sure that Cole caught that consciously.
I think he did.
And
now you said that, the way he looks at him.
And Cole says back, "It's very, very good to see you again, old friend." Which emphasises the wrong word, because he's saying it back to him, but it's the wrong word. They're kind of acting like they all know something's wrong, but they're pretending nothing's wrong, aren't they? Tammy, Albert, and Cole, right?
Yeah.
It's my feeling.
Particularly Cole and Albert. You can see Albert looks like he knows something's wrong, and he kind of exchanges a few glances with Cole, but Cole, particularly because of his relationship. I mean, Albert's had, really emotional kind of scene with
Truman.
Cooper and Truman when, what's he called? Laura's dad died. Leland.
Yeah.
So, they know each other, and we said that they seem to kind of form a bond after that, quite a strong bond because of what they'd seen, but Cole really has a strong relationship with him, and he does seem to notice. I mean, even Tammy Preston seems to kind of cotton on that something isn't right here.
Yeah, and we know that she knows a lot about the backstory of Twin Peaks, at least, right? Because she helped compile the secret diary stuff. Secret history stuff. But then Cage Cooper starts talking about, "I was deep undercover with Philip Jeffries, and I was on my way to see you, to be debriefed by you, and I left messages, and I've left messages to know Jeffries know it's safe." And then Cole's like, "Okay, these fellows here have reasons to hold you for now, but we're going to work hard to get you home so we can have this talk." And it's like, bye. And they leave, and they're like very troubled there. On the way out, the police say they can hold him for 2 more days. Cole says, quite pointedly, has he had his private phone call? And the guy says no. He goes, "Let him have his private phone call, and I expect to hear all about it." So obviously they want him to tap it, right? When they get outside, Tammy sort of says, "Well, he wasn't heading anywhere towards us. He was heading out west, not towards Philadelphia." Now, it's always troubled me that like Cole's from Philadelphia office, which is far northeast of America, and he sent Cooper out to investigate something in the far southwest. Sorry, Philadelphia's southeast. Twin Peaks is northwest. It's so weird that it's so far away. Anyway, that's by the way. He said he was heading west, not towards Philadelphia. And she asks Albert if he's feeling all right, because Albert kind of... I don't know if that's a reference to him shouting in the car or back in the room or what. She could tell, but he says, "Yeah, I'm all right now." And then she asks who Philip Jeffries is. I can't remember if they tell her or not, but at one point Cole says to her, "You're wearing a wire." And she's like, "But you told me to." And he says, "You got to go to a restaurant." And then she walks away. "I'm not going to talk about it, all right? I'm not going to talk about it." Albert says, "I'm feeling better now." And then Cole moves closer to him and turns his hearing aid full up. So Cole actually talks now instead of shouting, doesn't he? He's got his hearing aid fully up, and he says, What's your reaction to all that? And then Albert says, I've got something. It pays me to tell you this, but I've got something to tell you. I authorised Jeffries to give Cooper some information because I thought Cooper was in trouble and he needed the info. And he does stress this was years and years ago, doesn't he? And Cole's like, what information? He says, I told Philip who our man in Colombia was. And a week later, that man was killed. And like, Cole's really pained by this, isn't he? Like they've gone behind his back and he's going, Albert, like this. And we kind of hear a weird, I don't know if it was me, but I thought I heard a weird whistling noise at that point. Like almost industrial, sub noise. And he says to Albert, this business with Cooper, I don't like it. Something's wrong. Could be the accident, but I don't think so. So again, I'm not quite sure they're really onto it. They think something's wrong, but they're not really keyed in. So I've got a feeling they didn't explicitly pick up that weird sort of speech pattern, or if they did, it means nothing particular to them. So we got no reason to know Cole knows anything about the backward speaking, do we? Unless Cooper reported it, I guess.
I guess, potentially.
Albert kind of shuffles his feet, which hurts Cole's hearing aid, and he sort of says, that's cutting into my, that's like a knife. And he goes, do you understand the situation, Albert? He says, Blue Rose. Albert says Blue Rose, doesn't he? He goes, it doesn't get any bluer.
And that's it. If there's similar cases, then surely they have other accounts of people who've passed through the lodge?
We still don't really know what a Blue Rose case is, other than the ones we do know about are the lodge stuff. But Blue Rose might be a bit more on. We don't know really, do we? It appears to be all about that because, like, Major Briggs' head floated past and said Blue Rose. That's got to be something. Right? There's a really kind of cool cryptic scene, sort of dialogue at the end. It says, "We need one certain person to take a look at Cooper. Do you know where she is?" And Albert's like, I know where she drinks. Okay, so to me that means they want to check Cooper is who he thinks he is, or they suspect Cooper isn't who he thinks he is, and they want to bring in someone who'd know that. That's two possibilities. Do you think that's reasonable?
Yes.
Any idea who she is?
I was thinking it would be either Annie or Audrey.
I didn't pick up Annie. Good catch. I thought of 4 possibilities, and Annie wasn't one of them, actually. Annie's a good catch. I'm a bit sick. I missed that one. I did think of Audrey. The other ones I was thinking of was Sarah Palmer.
Ooh, good one,
She has
yes.
psychic insight into Bob, right?
Yep. And we've already seen her.
Yeah, and we've already seen it. And it's possible.
And she does drink.
Yeah, and she does drink. I thought possibly the log lady, but I doubt she's going to be in it for that. That was a possibility, right? The other one I thought of was Diane.
Ooh, we'd actually see Diane.
Well, I don't know. We got a number of actresses that are going to be in this. We don't know who they're playing. So those were the ones. But I think Annie's a good catch as well. So that is the possibilities, right?
Yeah.
But we could be wrong. It could be bloody Nadine. Or something like that, right? We just don't know, right? But then at that point it cuts to the Bang Bang Bar and we get the closing song. So it seems like every episode's going to end with a song in the Bang Bang Bar.
Yes.
Doesn't it? Which is a cool way of doing it, I think. So there's this... Sorry, go on.
So I was going to say, I'm guessing that's where she drinks.
Who? Annie?
Whoever she is.
Because it does cut to that, suggesting it is. I mean, that the only person female we've seen in this bar is Shelley that we know, right?
Yeah. But it suggests it's around about Twin Peaks, so that's where she would be.
Yeah. Which I forgot to mention, one of the scenes in the Bang Bang Bar where we see James, we see the actor that played Jacques Renault behind the bar.
Yes.
But apparently that character is a different character. It's Jean-Michel Renault. So it's like a twin cousin or something.
Wow.
It's one of them. Yeah, anyway, sorry, that's by the way. Yeah, so we think someone has to take a... They're a bit weird. They're weirded out by this version of Cooper, but they don't... I don't think they suspect it's something else. They know something's up, but they've not quite got their finger on it.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. It's hard to say. Okay, so shall we wind it up there? So next time we'll be covering episode 5 probably, and at some point soon we'll be doing Secret History, hopefully.
Yes, we need to.
More and more stuff keeps coming about Secret History, so we got to talk about it, right? It's a good read, recommend it. Okay, I think it's time to rate this one. What would you give this one out of 10?
10.
Oh, this is your favourite so far?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. No, I still like episode 3 a bit more, but I think this is a really good one. I'm going to give it 8. But right, I'm going to remember that. So number 4's your favourite. Where'd you go if you like even more? You know, you're going to have to go to 11s and 12s next. Okay, I'll tell you what, let's wind up there. So bye from me.
Bye from me.
And until next time on the Twin Peaks Log.